normally I have my pro bag in there with my wrestling shoes. I would have took that off and started wrestling with you guys if I would have feel more time. Because I'm a mad rat, man. You know, but what I'm looking for right now is just trying to find a bunch of local high school that I can really connect with and build a genuine relationship with. But this is not going to be the last time I see my face. You know what I mean? If I have the time, I'm going to come back over here, spend time with you guys. My thing is, when I recruit or even when my wrestlers, it's more of a mentorship. You know, it's more of a family here. You know, it's what I'm trying to build for my program. You know, I mean, I want people to come in here, be comfortable, knowing they can grow, knowing they're going to be challenged in that sense. You know, and I'm one of those coaches. One, I don't have a wife or kids, so my time is with my guys. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing I want to do for my guys. You know. But what I'm looking for is just people who want to work hard, who cares about the academic, you know, obviously care about getting each other, the next person better, you know.
So here we are today with Sonnie Blanco, head coach of Washington Jefferson College in Washington, Pennsylvania. And we're going to ask some questions, a little Q&A here with him and some of the guys, and see if we can pick up on some things that can help not only us but other people out in the world. And so Coach Blanco, so obviously I know that you graduated from Washington Jefferson with the most wins in that college's history. As a matter of fact, you were able to overcome one of our youth coaches, who was a local high school wrestler, Kevin DeJulius. He had previously had the wins record until you took it over. So maybe you could talk a few minutes or a couple minutes about some of the highlights of your career, not only in college, but maybe how you got started, at what age, what it was like in the environment where you got started into high school, and then transitioning to college.
Yeah, definitely. When it comes to my wrestling, man, I always tell people I was a late bloomer. You know what I mean? I wasn't that guy. Freshman year, turning people head around, or coming to high school, everybody knowing who I was. You know what I mean? I was more so the guy who kept his head down, kept working. But most important, I believe in everything my coaches was preaching to me. You know, my relationship with my coaches from the time I started until I was done was always strong. You know, I always needed those coaches in the back of me. You know what I mean? But I laugh at it now because when I started wrestling was because of WWE. Like, nobody ever wrestled in my family. I'm watching WWE as a kid, like, oh man, that's cool. Started in 5th grade. Went there, was like, yeah, this is not what I expect, you know. I was getting my butt beat, so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go play basketball. Tried that for a little bit and came right back to wrestling. Started winning in 7th grade. That's when things just started coming. You know, I just fell in love with it. I love the part that it's all about the work you put in and the time. You know, the sport is one of those sports that asks you for so much, but they give you so much a little. You know what I mean? But as far as my career go in high school, later on is when I saw my success. You know, my junior, my senior year, where I ended up being a 2-time district champ. I won a regional my senior year, qualified for state my senior year. Came short, went 2-2, placing, and I thought it was like the end of the world, man. Like, I was just like, what the heck? I worked so hard, but back then my mindset was wrong because just because I work hard every day in the room, I outwork everybody. That doesn't mean I'm guaranteed to be on that podium. You know, what it does is if I go out there and earn it to be on that podium by winning those matches is what makes the difference. So once I was able to change my mindset in that sense, knowing like, okay, well, yes, I can work hard, I may come short, but there's nothing about going back in and putting another time in there. You know what I mean? So you just be able to change that mindset where it was, hey, yes, I put in the work. That doesn't mean I'm gonna go out there and earn it just because I put in the work. You know, let me go out there and win the matches. By me winning the matches, I'm earning my slot on that podium. If that makes sense for you guys. So that's one of the big things I got from that. But college, graduated high school 2013, came to W&J. Man, when I tell you guys, I always knew, I was talking to your coach, I always knew I was going to go to college. There was no doubt I wasn't, you know what I mean? I had friends that were going to college, they were wrestling, so that kind of got stuck in my head, you know? So I always knew I was going to get a college degree, but never thought master though. You know what I mean? I I came to WJ. I'm reading stuff. I'm like, yo, what am I reading? You know, because I was not prepared for college at all, man. Especially the level of education that WJ provided. I was not ready for that, you know what I mean? But I have a drive and I have a will that, hey, if I start something, I'm going to finish it. And all I had to do was just find a way to get through it. But more so, I had a community and I took advantage of my community that was there for me. You know, going to ask professor for office hours. From there, going to meet with a tutor. One of my professors, my freshman year, truly changed my life, man. That's a good one, because he saw my heart, you know, where he's like, yo, there's a good chance you may fail here, but I'm gonna get you a tutor, you know. And he got me a tutor to this day. Me and this lady are so close, man. They're like my adopted parents now, you know what I mean? Anything I need. And it was just like, I think during that time I just needed that support, because I had a grandma that barely spoke English. Like, she was just there to cook for me and provide me with a house. Everything else, I just did it, and I had coaches, you know what I mean? But to have somebody now who can understand what I'm going through, that I can sit down and talk with them, the force, and just be that support system is truly what I needed. But I put my head down, man, and that first semester at WJ was rough. My GPA was probably like a 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, you know what I mean? But after that though, every year it improved. Every year I learned about my learning style, where it was, okay, if I have a paper, maybe I'm not a kid that wait the day before, the night before, like if it's due Friday, maybe I don't wait Thursday to get it done. I would start working on a Tuesday, you know, just learning who I was, you know what I mean, and my learning style. So once I was able to learn that, then my wrestling got better, because now I wasn't thinking about, oh man, my grades, man, I'm not doing well in this class, you know what I mean? But now I'm like, okay, my grades are starting to improve. The wrestling, because the wrestling was easy, you know what I mean? No matter where you went, the wrestling's gonna be the wrestling, you know? But it's the little stuff that I had to take care of first, you know, was my grades. But once I got a hold of that, like I said, every year, it just got better, man. Then came to college, freshman year, I had a great year. Placed out, damn near every tournament I went to, I placed, was fourth. Sophomore year, was taking second at tournament, was happy with that. I just didn't realize, yo, that's not cool. Like, yo, you can do more, stop taking second. You know, where somebody would have just kind of yelled at to me. But I think my sophomore year at regionals, I beat a kid in the quarters, then he beat me back for third and fourth to make it out, you know? And I was crying, I'm like mad at myself, but I look back at that sophomore and I'm happy I didn't go to national. I keep short, you know, because now it made me more hungry for my junior and my senior year. But most important, my lifestyle, I wasn't living the right lifestyle my sophomore year. You know, and I'm definitely not afraid to tell you guys, my guys, I tell them all the time, you know, because I just came in with a big energy, like, oh man, I had a great freshman year. My chest is out. I'm more comfortable on campus now. Started getting lost in other stuff, you know what I mean? But I was still doing well. But I'm taking second, thinking that was fine. And I'll come back and go have fun with everybody else, you know what I mean? Just missing the little stuff and not realizing, oh, that shit is not cool, excuse my language, you know what I mean? But I had to be honest with myself, crying, because I didn't go to national, losing by 10 seconds with a slide by. Like, come on, man. You know what I mean? Like, are you serious? You know? But that's how I talk to myself, you know, because I'm very, very honest with myself, man. And that's how you get better as a person. You know, you don't wait for other people to tell you your downfall, or tell you you're doing well. It's yourself, you know what I mean? But anyway, yeah, my sophomore year, came short. Knew why I came short, because I wasn't living that lifestyle that deserved for me to be up there. Putting that time, cleaning up my mindset. Then that's junior, senior year, I just took off, man. You know, I ended up being undefeated damn near the whole year. My junior year, ended up going to national, took third, qualified, ended up placing fifth. That year was great. Came back, same thing, more hungrier. I remember watching the finals my junior year, like, man, I know I can be there, you know? Unfortunately, I came short from being in that finals, but hey, I ended up taking the best next thing, which was third place, you know, because my mindset was much better that senior year, and I was just hungrier, you know what I mean? And more, because I saw the success. I'm like, all right, well, I already did it last year. Why would I not do that this year, you know? So just keeping that standard extremely high. One of the things I tell my guys is, what helped me too was I always shoot for the highest. Like for you guys, shoot to be a state champ. That way, when you come short from that, you take second, you take third, you take fourth, you take fifth, all the way down to eighth. You know, and that's how mine was. Hey, I'm gonna shoot to be a national champ. That way, if I come short, look, the next best thing I get is an All-American. You know, but if you plan on, hey, I want to be an All-American, what's the best next thing? A qualifier. All you get is a handshake and a good job. You know what I mean? But always shoot high, no matter what in life. Always shoot high. Because the best next thing would be, hey, an All-American. For you guys would be a state placer, you know, which is damn good too. You know what I mean? But yeah, as far as my career go, man, I definitely enjoyed it. That's the only thing I would sit back and say. I beat myself up from not placing my sophomore year, because I definitely should have been there. But I'm happy more so because that setback, I learned more from that setback than me being on that podium or me being at national. Not saying I would have placed, you know what I mean? But that kid ended up placing it. He took fifth that year, so I'm like, no, maybe I could have.
Yeah, so you actually probably answered my next question. What I was going to lead into is like some lowlights, but I think you covered some of that. And what I found interesting, we just had Julia Salata in here for a camp a couple Sundays ago. She's now the director of operations at Princeton boys wrestling. And when she said she got into wrestling because of WWE, like John Cena and stuff. So I found that interesting. And then about a month ago, I had Kurt Angle at my club, and he was doing an interview for Dan Gable. And he said, after he won the Olympics, WWE was calling, and he initially turned them down, which he regrets now because they offered him $10 million for 10 years. Wow. And he said no because he didn't want to sell out, like to go to fake wrestling from real wrestling. He said he tried like 2 or 3 other jobs, and then finally 2 or 3 years later, he's like, hey, I need money. And so he signed a contract, but they were much stiffer with him. They gave him $3 million for a 5-year contract the next time around because now he was begging. And but then the interesting part, the more interesting than any of that, was he said, he felt like inside, because he was an Olympic gold medalist and had trained with so many amateur good wrestlers, Dave Schultz and stuff, and Dan Gable, that he was selling out. And he said, but later on, when like Gable Stevenson come up to him and was like, hey, when I saw you on WWE and these things, and my brothers were wrestling, that's what inspired me to be greater than I was. So then he said he felt redeemed, that like other people, that one, who's that giant Minnesota wrestler, the big dude? Brock Lesnar and Gable Stevenson, and a lot of these guys followed his footsteps into amateur wrestling and then into pro wrestling. But anyhow, but highlights and lowlights, I think you covered pretty well. What is the biggest piece of advice you would give to a current high school wrestler?
Yeah, the big one is just, hey, if you really want to do this sport, you got to surround yourself with people who are going to support you. Because this sport is so mentally driven sport. You know what I mean? You got to be around people who are truly want the best for you. You don't know everything, so keep your ears open, keep your feet moving, you know what I mean? But surround yourself with people who have the same goal as you. Stay focused, when you're in high school, it's so easy to lose that focus, but just control what you can control, which is your time that you put in the sport. The sport's going to ask for a lot, man, but you just got to be willing for that, especially if you tell yourself, hey, this is what I want to get at, where's the state champ. You got to, every single day, it's about separating yourself. Every single day, what are you going to do? One, how are you going to separate yourself? Two, what are you going to say when it's 10 o'clock, when you're done, your day is done, like, man, I want my day. Do everything plus one more, plus two more. And it's the same thing I tell my guys, find a way every single day. Do one thing to win your day, you know what I mean? But make sure though, overall, you surround yourself with people who want to see you succeed. Because it's the people that are going to do that, that's going to take you there, you know what I mean? From your coaches to the teachers. You know, obviously the academic has to be there, or you just want to play with the sport. You know, so take the academic serious. You know, like I say, I tell you guys that, but your coach, just from the system he has, is great. You know what I mean? As far as getting you guys tutors and the amount of time you spend with y'all guys, appreciate that part of it, man. Seriously, appreciate that part. Because not saying you may not have it the next 4 years, but you may not, you know what I mean? So I appreciate it. And focus on trying to win every single moment. You know, when you guys are wrestling, try to win every single moment, you know. But when you're in the room though, it's not about the win or loss, it's about fully getting better, getting your teammates better, you know what I mean? That would be probably, like I said, my biggest advice is just focus on the moment, enjoying it, surround yourself with people who truly want to see you succeed, because your coaches are going to put that time into you. And ask questions too. Like, don't be afraid to ask questions, you know what I mean? You guys are young, you guys are growing, so ask the questions, you know? And there's no such thing as a silly question, so ask, you know?
Then my last question, it's not so much for the crew sitting here, it's more for my youth to share with them. But, you know, having gone through a whole career and now, like I said, competing successfully at college and attaining to become a coach in college, what would be the advice you would tell a parent of an elementary school wrestler?
Make sure your kid is having fun with the sport. It is not that serious. It is absolutely not. It's not a life or death. Do not yell at your kid for losing. Do not yell at him for winning. Please let the kid have fun, because it's about the kid. It's not about you. You have nothing to prove.
Exactly.
Like, at all. You know what I mean? Like, this is what I'm seriously, because when I see it, and it's like, yo, this is why the kid doesn't enjoy it by the time they get in high school by his sophomore year. You know, like, your kid is young, let him have fun, let him go out there, trip on his feet, let him fall. Like, that's the part of the program. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't need to be that intense, you know. But when you get at the high school though, and let's turn it up, you know, instead of hanging out with your friends and you guys at practice talking, like, dude, you're here to get better, man. You know what I mean? Focus on getting better, you know. But yeah, as far as the parents go though, have fun.
Yep.
Your kid is too young, man. Let your kid be a kid. Let him make the mistake at practice. Let him wrestle when he goes to matches. Let him wrestle, obviously the bad competition, but it doesn't need to be emphasized. You know, if he wins, great job. If he loses, great job. But it's not the end of the world though. You know, Penn State is not gonna say, yo, he didn't win a 5th grade state title, so I'm not gonna recruit him. You know what I mean? That's not how that works. So.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Coach. From this point on, I'm just going to open it up to these guys that are here. Maybe you guys have a couple questions, maybe recruiting process questions, nutrition, strength training, whatever you guys are thinking. Don't be afraid to ask a couple questions, maybe a handful of questions here.
Yeah.
What kind of SAT schools you guys looking
SAT? Well, we're 10th optional now, but anything between like 16, 17, you know. Obviously, we're a higher academic school, so personally, what I try to look for guys are between a 3 and a 4, nothing below that personally, you know. 3 2s, I would like, you know what I mean? That's like my call. But if a kid, depending on his story and his background, you know, 3 would be like where, okay, that's maybe somebody I have to kind of keep my eye on, you know. But for the most part, 3 2. Because the way I look at it is, I want Scott All-American, they give me the 3 2 as well to get that and have a win record, you know. Good question, you know. Anybody? Okay.
What do you guys do for your athletes when it comes to nutrition?
So with that, I actually have a buddy that he loves that part, like the lifting, the nutrition, as far as diet. So we don't have a specific strength conditioning coach, but Nate Dawson, my assistant, he take care of all that. Because I don't know anything about it, I'll be honest with you, you know what I mean? But I don't know how to put guys through a workout, lift and stuff, but he does the whole lifting, does the whole diet. He's very good at that stuff, you know, and that's something that you guys certification into, so he's very on top of it, you know.
What are some of the majors that you offer?
Yeah, so we're real big on the sciences, most people that come into WJ, then the whole freshman class all go try to pre-med or pre-law, you know. But we're really big on, hey, if you want to go to post-grad, especially like the medical schools, law school, you know, we're really huge on that.
Yeah.
Well,
My main goal is to be like some type of biologist, but for backup, I want to do something in law enforcement.
yeah. So like I would say WJ would probably be a good fit for you then, especially if you want to go in the biology route. You know what I mean? Because we're heavy science driven.
Okay.
Even the professors, it's so funny. I laugh now because for our school you have to take a lab before you graduate. And I took one my senior year, second semester. I just got done being All-American. I'm in this class. The bio professor was so tough on me, but I'm happy she was, and she just didn't let me pass on some like, oh, it's your senior year, second semester, you're taking bio 100, the basic bio. But she was tough on me. Me and her built a great relationship because after every class, I would go to her office hour for like an hour, man, just talking, having her lecture me on her notes and all that stuff. But what I'm trying to go with this story was, yeah, I was a communication major, she's bio, but me and her was able to connect in some weird, like unique way where when I was going to graduate school, I needed a recommendation letter. She was the first person I called. And I only had her for one semester, literally one semester, well, I think like 4 months it is in the semester.
Yeah.
4 to 3, and I had her, and the fact that she didn't even hesitate to write me a recommendation letter, you know, because the connection we built and that relationship, you know what I mean?
My father worked with the game commission, and I did some volunteer hours with them, and I want to go into more of like the research field. But like if that doesn't work out, figured game warden or some type of police officer would suit me fine.
I got you. Yeah, I tell everybody, man, if you sit back and look at my story, this is a young person who's coming from Africa, was born there, come to New Jersey with a grandma that barely spoke English, put himself in here. Thank God, God surrounded me with so many good people that I was able to go to college, get 2 degrees. Now, it only took me 5 years to be a head coach, you know, so that should at least let you guys know where my level of focus is at when it comes to life and what I want out of life, you know what I mean? I refuse to settle, you know what I mean? I absolutely refuse to settle when I know I have the potential to achieve something great, you know? So it's almost, to me, it's like, man, I know I can do something great, so let me see what I'm chasing after. Let me see it, you know what I mean? And I'm starting to see it, man. I said it only took me 5 years to be a head coach. Right when I got into college coaching, I knew this was for me, you know, right away. Because one, I was able to mentor young people, and I was able to get back to the sport of wrestling and provided everything for me, from my confidence to from going to travel to getting different life experiences, you know what I mean, from my best friends to a family, you know. But I said that, to me, if you guys are able to sit back and see that hey, 5 years later, he's taking over to a program that you look on there, my name is on there every wall, which is great and I'm happy about. But it's the experience, it's my degree, is where I pat myself on the back, you know what I mean? Like that All-American stuff, I can tell you guys, I can't remember really, now, well, let me take that back. Now I look at it a little more because I put it in my room. But back before that, I couldn't tell you guys how many times I look at my 2 trophies. Like, it was just like, all right, that's cool, man. But I can tell you 100 times how much I looked at my degree, my 2 degree. I'm like, damn, I got 1. Yeah, I left WJ with a 2.7, but I went on for my master with a 4.0. You know, because I had more to prove. Because I was very insecure when it came to my academic. I was like, man, I was always nervous until I went to get my master's. Then when I got that 4.0, remember getting my first A and been like, yo, what the hell? It's a joke. Like, I got a first A, I got an A. Graduate school. I was like, all right, let me get a second A. Oh shoot, that's another A. You know what? Let me just make this my goal to finish with a 4. And I was able to do that. You know, so now as a coach, I told myself, yo, I know the kind of coach I can be, especially for young people. I know I can build a damn good program, so why not build one? You know what I mean? And I'm going to keep telling myself that, and I'm going to keep believing it. And at the end of the day, I know I'm going to achieve that goal. You know what I mean? And the way I'm going to do it is by coming to rooms like this, building genuine relationship with you guys, so y'all know who Blanco is. Y'all know, hey, when I come to WJ, this man is going to take care of me beyond these 4 years. You know, I know the impact I want to have on young people. Where 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, you guys can call me and say, "Yo, coach, I'm having my first wedding," or "Hey, coach, I'm getting my first kid." You know what I mean? But more, like I said, man, when it's all said and done, I'm gonna create an environment that young people are gonna come in, they're gonna be able to learn, they're gonna be challenged, and most important, they're gonna go on and do great things. You know what I mean? The school already speaking. You know, the school has already done it. You know, where I have a bunch of teammates that were all doctors. I didn't really name 5 doctors. I'm talking about I had 5 lawyers easily. You know what I mean? So the success has already been there. You know, and just keeping it going and keeping more emphasizing more the family aspect of things. So, yeah, overall, man, thank you guys. As I know for a fact, I'm gonna be here. This is what I've been looking for, was to find a high school that I could genuinely build a relationship with, because I had it when I was at Ohio, where I was coming here all the time, wrestling with the kids, knowing the whole entire community, and just being involved, you know. So I definitely am looking forward to continue to get to know you guys, you know, and build that relationship with y'all and see where things go from there.
Yep. So we appreciate that, and we appreciate you, Coach Blanco, and we look forward to building that relationship. So thank you.